What is going on, everyone? It has been a minute, but we are back with IPL Weekly. Today, I am joined by two coaches in the International Pokemon League. Two coaches set to take each other on in round one of the IPL playoffs. I'm joined by Stephen Dick, coach of the Bayern Munchlax, and Sahil Qatar, the commissioner and coach of the Milwaukee Mewers. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well, doing real well. Thank you. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking, Stephen.
I'm pretty good. I'm excited to talk about the end of the regular season and hopefully preview what is going to be an exciting playoffs.
Yeah, that's exactly what we are going to do. Some breaking news, though. Cue the music. The Bayern Munchlax have dropped Delibird and have picked up Munchlax. Munchlax, of course, the mascot for the Bayern Munchlax. Delibird
You better believe it.
didn't make an appearance all season. So some breaking news there. Each number one seed, of course, gets one transaction before the playoffs this weekend. There's about 2 hours left for Matt to make his transaction. But, yeah, Steven, why don't you give us some insight? Give us some insight onto why Munchlax was picked up.
Oh, sure. I'd be happy to, yeah. So I've been thinking about doing this for a while. So this wasn't always the plan. I initially had thought about, like, is there a more, kind of more directly playoff-focused trade I could make?
What you're saying is there a good Pokemon you can take?
Right, exactly. Well, I've been thinking about dropping Senna Scorch actually from my roster because he hadn't seen usage in a while. And I was just looking at tier 4 was the only thing I wanted to change because everything from like tier 1 and 2 down, or 3 even, tier 1 to 3 even, I was really happy with how my team performed. I really made it work from there. And so if I was going to change anything, it was going to be one of my tier 4s. But looking at what was there was no Pokemon that really filled any kind of role I was looking for. And so I kind of decided that the team I played with here is the team that got me here, so I'm not gonna lose faith in them now. But Delibird was kind of I guess I defended it back in the draft. But looking back on it, it was Pokemon I was really going to use. I think I'd be much more happy to go into the playoffs with my mascot at the tail of my roster. So, yeah.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, and maybe, just maybe, we'll see Munchlax in the playoffs. Not super confident, but it could be there. So it's been a few weeks since we've recorded an IPL Weekly, but we are just going to talk about week 10 and then preview the playoffs coming up.
Maybe we can, broadly do some winners and losers of the regular season kind of.
Sure, that's kind of why I wanted to update the docs, but,
Well, that's not, like I said, we would have to do half the season.
Yes, agreed. So yeah, we'll do like a full season, like very broad overview. But for right now, let's talk about some of the Week 10 matchups, or all of the Week 10 matchups, rather. First up, the Bayern Munchlax took on the Granville Goomies. Bayern Munchlax, of course, coming into the match 8-1. Granville Goomies on a 6-game losing streak at 2-7. And
3-6.
Or sorry, excuse me, 3-6. Yes. Bayern Munchlax cruised to a victory, winning 5-0 against the Granville Goomies, extending that losing streak from 6 to 7, and improving the Bayern Munchlax winning streak actually to, what is it, 7 now? 6 or 7? I don't even know.
So if he was 2-1, now he's won 7 in a row. Yeah.
7 in a row. So we saw some really cool tech. We saw a Steel Beam Corviknight, not something I thought we would see. But overall, just a very well played match by Steven. How did you feel about the match?
I thought pretty good. I think it was the last game of the season, and so I think the only thing really on the line here was like best record in the league because potentially me and Matt were kind of back and forth with that. But I did want to use something kind of fun this time, and I think the Clefairy was kind of fun since Richie had Clefable before, and I mean I say it was fun, but it took out a quarter of his team, so it really did its job. And the Corviknight for forever I had the idea of using Steel Beam on it, and so I initially wanted to use Nasty Plot Agility. But I settled for choice specs, and I think it did its job just fine.
Oh, it was choice specs. Okay.
It was choice specs, yeah. So it didn't kill the Hydreigon, but it did do enough to basically limit it on Stealth Rock switching. And really, Corviknight did what it does usually, which is just provide a sixth body to take some hits and at least do something. So right. I was very happy I got to use Steel Beam competitive.
Yeah, no, I was happy to see that. Sad that Delibird didn't make its debut in this match. But
it's true. I thought about it, but honestly, I just my love in this team has been for these guys. Right, these 6 here, or these 5 you're seeing here, are just really the guys that have been putting in the work every week. So I couldn't. I had to have them finish the season off right.
True. Well, unfortunately for Richie, looked like he was in pole position to make the playoffs early on in the season, but he does fall to 3-7 and into last place in the Kanto Conference. So, commiserations to Richie. He'll probably be back next season and looking to take
What
his
do you mean
revenge.
probably?
Well,
He's been a mainstay. I mean,
It's up to him. Yeah, I know. I don't want to say he'll be back. I don't want to
pushing
say
him right now.
No,
to retire.
bro. I mean, he had a better season than I did, so I can't really. I'm not pushing him to retire. I'm just not going to say he's 100% back. It's up to him.
I just feel like you're starting
true, that's
controversy
true.
for no reason here.
That's my job as a host of IPL Weekly.
No, and I agree. I think should Richie choose to come back next year, much like Tom Brady, I think he will have learned a lot from this season. I think I would expect Richie to be to pull out a pretty fierce draft.
Yeah. No, I think next season, nothing below like 80 speed. We'll be honest.
Well, you just go the other way, just a bunch of glass cannons. You like can't take anything.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with this generation is that there's a lot of stuff like Dragapult and Zeraora with like 140 speed, and there's a lot of stuff with like 80 speed, and so it's easy to get tripped up and kind of
That's true.
like you get lost in speed tiers, and I definitely can understand that happening.
That's true. What happened to the generation where things were balanced? Everything is either too fast or too slow in this generation. Right? All right, so moving on to the second battle we're going to be talking about. The Green Bay Yampers defeated the Chicago Brambles 4-0. The Green Bay Yampers picked up their second win of the season and their second win against the Grambles, finishing the season at 2-8. Grambles finished the season at 2-7. I secured the worst record in the league with that win.
Also,
so.
fewest amount of teams beaten. With one.
Okay, yeah. that's
Green
true.
Bay Yampers one team.
That's true. But Quiver Dance for Bombi ended up sweeping at +1, killing 4 Pokemon in the process. Pretty inconsequential game, but I knew I could go all out and still get the #1 pick for next year. This game had no bearing on that. So, yeah.
Just a note here, it was very intelligent. You played the Rabombi well. You waited for you scouted the choice Keldeo, and then you waited for it to be locked into Secret Sword to set up.
And I waited for the Mawile to be gone. That was the biggest thing.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, you're right. Thank you. It was very well played. But yeah, no,
Is this the first week you didn't attempt to run sand at all? Or,
no.
okay.
Like the last 3 weeks.
Okay, last 3 weeks. Okay, sorry.
No,
Your battles
yeah.
haven't been too consequential. So I haven't been.
Nihal, he surprised me greatly when he didn't bring either his Sand Setter or Excadrill, but did bring an offensive Dust Clops.
Was that last week?
That was against Steven.
Oh yeah, that was last week. Yeah.
Look, with you, I know I need to keep you, I'm gonna keep you a little bit
on your toes.
Yeah, on your toes. That's what.
And you always do. You always do for sure.
Yeah, never win, but
Have you beaten Steven in the IPL?
I don't think so. Steven and I haven't played that often.
I think I've only beaten Steven once.
Yeah.
I think we've only played 3 times.
In like 2015, you once I remember that. It was like our second.
It was the second
game
ever
of our
week.
season.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was like do you remember it was like a 90-turn battle that came down to
just
PP stalling?
completely different trajectories since then.
Rodom and Sylveon. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oh man, that feels like forever
Between
ago.
you and Steven.
How?
Like he's gone on to win a title.
We're both playing in the playoffs.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, so, the Green Bay Yampers, we're going to be making some changes next year. Glad this godforsaken team is done and dusted with. And we'll have to draft better next time. There's really not too much to say about this battle. All right. The third battle we're going to talk about is the London Lanterns versus the Toledo Team Rockets. Both these guys will, of course, be playing in the playoffs. So both teams brought some interesting sets. A final Gambit Lucario, as we're seeing on the first turn here. which really didn't make any sense. He could have just attacked and killed it, but yeah, I mean, it was fun to watch.
This part of this they wanted to have fun. You'd think part of
Right.
it was also they just did not want to show each other
Exactly.
what they wanted to bring next week.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't want to
Yeah.
show their hands.
This is the same reason why I brought Modest Fifthsome Wateri MZ Mantine versus Richie on our last season.
That also happened last season. Yeah.
But yeah, Steven, you were excited to talk about this match. There was literally like maybe one time someone switched out in this match.
Yeah,
I can't believe
this game was so much fun.
It really was.
So fast paced.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, it was basically like every
Okay.
Akash game too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
The thing I like about this is that like these things are like, they're supposed to be kind of like jokey sets or whatever, but like the choice spec Zero Aura, that could actually be useful in the game. Like that was actually really good here.
Yeah.
And other stuff like it basically kind of goes to show you that you can bring on like an oddball team where nothing is what people expect, and you can still kind of do something with it, which I thought was really cool. Like you can get a victory with non-standard stuff, which is fun.
Right.
Y'all almost beat me with Ice Cube in week 1. Like, just completely.
I probably should have.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. But.
Yeah, well, I forgot to say, the Lanterns ended up winning 1-0 on the final turn of the game, which is how all 1-0 victories happen.
With a Hyper Beam.
Actually, wait, all victories happen on
Yeah,
the
it's
final.
with the Hyper Beam, but the choice spec.
Yeah, I thought that's what you said on the last turn of the game. I thought you were going to say with a Hyper Beam.
Yeah, with Hyper, that's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Because every win happens on the last turn of the game.
Well, there could be forfeits. Is that still the last turn? Yeah, probably.
Well, yeah. But yeah, we saw the Curse, Mamoswine, Piloswine,
gosh.
the Calm Mind,
Palestine,
Cophagrigus.
yeah.
It was
And
cool.
live those hits so easily too. Unbelievable.
Oh, man. Piloswine.
Piloswine is the breakout player of the year.
Was Claydol
for
here
sure.
just to get the 1-0? Like, just for the climactic ending? Like, he just tossed out Claydol.
Imagine if he missed that Hyper Beam. Oh, man.
That would have been so tragic.
It would have been. But good victory for Dion. It was a fun victory.
I'm sure he cares more about the one next week.
For sure.
Right.
And then the final match that we're going to be talking about, the only consequential match of the week, win or go home, the Milwaukee
For both
Mewers.
teams.
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
win or go home means.
Well, not necessarily.
Okay, fine. The Milwaukee Mewers took on the Hollywood Haluchas, and, I buried the lead a little bit. Or wait, did I bury the lead? Yeah, I did. I did bury the lead because I said straight up at the beginning of this show that you guys would be playing in the playoffs. So already know that the Milwaukee Mewers did come out on top, in control the entire time, taking a 4-0 victory over the Hollywood Haluchas. The one-time champions will not be making the playoffs. Sahil will be making the playoffs, looking for his first championship ever. But yeah, Sahil, it was a very well-played match. Why don't you talk about your prep, what went into it, how you psyched yourself up for this match? Literally the entire week was spent pacing around, thinking about your sets. I would literally just walk upstairs and Sahil would be pacing.
I'd be looking out the window, stroking
What
my
are you
beard.
thinking about?
No, so do you want the psychological stuff first or the kind of boring tactical parts first?
The tactical part's not boring.
No, I know.
But start with the psychological.
So, what I'm thinking going into this game is I know I'm probably not going to beat Steven in the next round. I know this. But I want to be part of the story. When people talk about Steven's run, I want to have a footnote. When people talk about who, you know what I mean? Or even if Steven loses, I want to be part of in the history books.
You're the freaking commissioner!
So that's why I thought I think I was more nervous for this game than I'll be this week because I just don't I kind of
you got nothing to lose.
I don't expect that much this week, but that first turn I looked at the recoil, saw that Darmanitan wouldn't even die even if I just flare blitzed it because Espeon is low HP. And then I just thought for every other turn, Ferrothorn was like a really good pivot onto some of his mons, like Aegislash and Espeon and Primarina. So I kind of made the predictions like with Ferrothorn a couple times. Like I knew he wouldn't want to stand with Primarina, so I went for knockoff to take off Aegislash's choice band, and I did that same thing with Body Press and Rotom. Late in the game, he tried to do his screen thing, and then I just went into my own screen setter with Vanillux, and yeah, I thought I was just kind of happy with the way I played it. I thought kind of lowered everything in the end so that Mew could come in behind the Aurora Veil and take everything out. So Mew did really well for me against Jared both weeks. Got 6 kills in the 2 games. So I think overall, I mean, I'm happy with those mid-season pickups I made with Golisopod, Vanillux, and Mew. I think they turned out to be good for me.
Yeah, and Psychic Fangs was actually big. Psychic Fangs breaks the screen. I think Brick Breaks also actually does that. It breaks the screens and then it factors in the
Yes,
damage.
I actually wasn't even aware of that, but it definitely helped me in this.
Yeah, I mean, it caps off a pretty good season for you. Jared also had a pretty good season, but the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he ended up 4-5, which is, I mean, yeah, obviously not too great, but I mean, he had a strong start to the season. I think he had a pretty good team.
He had a very threatening
He did.
team.
I think most of our division was pretty like kind of even or just like decent records in the first 4 weeks. And then Jared started to sputter after that, but he had a really strong team. He was playing it well for quite a while.
Yeah. After the vacated match, things sort of went downhill for him.
True.
Yeah.
And for me, the way to beat Jared, the one win con against Jared is tilt him early.
How do you think I tilted him early in this game?
I'm not sure if you did.
I don't think I.
But
really
I think
did,
after you tried to no retreat twice, he probably tilted.
that probably doesn't sit right with him. Yeah.
Well, it's very true because I think Jared's a very volatile player. He's willing to make high risk plays,
right?
Which can kind of make him hard to predict. And so kind of if you can catch him on one or two of those, sometimes that'll really help you out versus him. But which is why, like, for me, whenever I play him, I'm always concerned because, like, I play very methodically, kind of very rhythmically, whereas he's willing to, like, throw out a superpower in a random turn and KO one of my Pokemon, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah. So you have to play like Sahel played, very confidently.
Yeah. Yeah. Steven's more like classical music, and Jared's like jazz.
Okay.
Like heavy metal.
Yeah, Jared's like I was saying jazz. It's just like like a punch here and a punch there, and you don't really know when it's gonna come.
Yeah. I mean,
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but I want to say this is definitely. I think this is Sahel's best played game of the season for sure. This is a really good showing.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm coming off maybe my two best games. With,
because
with
I feel like Sahel,
Sahel,
you've
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
a couple of times, Sahel, I feel like you've somehow pulled out games.
Oh yeah, and I think that's
playing.
just kind of the league to some extent. I think none of us
have-
play
you
perfect
have
games.
You have a talent for pulling games out of your ass, and
It's
that's
true.
it's a good
There's been
talent.
a lot of games.
That's a good talent.
Right.
Yeah. This season especially has been a lot of games like that where you have no idea who's going to win until the last turn.
But I think I lost some games like that too.
Yeah, sure.
Against Akash
Yeah,
and Stevens was really close. Those are both 1-0s. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think it all evened out. I played a good
Sure.
season.
I think this is really
Yeah.
I think this was a game where you didn't really have a bad play. So I mean that's
Yeah, that's
I would say classically, I think Sahel. I think you play much better with your back against the wall. I think, or when you need to do something like back in like season 1, we needed to get an exact 5-0 victory versus Nihal.
That was crazy. That actually got the 5-0 against Seahawks.
Yeah.
well
I mean, it didn't end up mattering because I think Ryan lost, but I knew if Ryan won, I needed a 5-0 to get that playoff spot. But then I beat him again in the next week.
yeah you're clutch, I guess.
Yeah.
You will your.
No, I mean
Pokemon
this
to
season
flinches.
was very up and down. It was like I said this in the Discord a couple times, but I literally just won, lost. But finally, in the end, when I needed to break that this week, I did.
Yeah.
You broke the wheel. You did it. Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. We think about it. You like in order to get in, you came back and beated both Matt, who's like, in my opinion, one of the biggest threats in the league, and then also Jared, like back to back. That's a strong showing for the end of your season.
Yeah, like
And
I remember
next week you got a chance to take down the third person in the house,
Third type.
and then you know what? We'll bring in Cyan, and you can beat him too.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I remember after I lost to Akash, my last 4 games were Jared, Matt, wait, who am I?
Dion.
Steven.
Oh, Steven.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Steven, and then Jared again. And I was like, there's no way I go 3-1 or so I felt like it was kind of like sort of over in that moment, but I did go 3-1 out of those 4. I did get throttled in the middle there against you, But
Also, yeah. But also, I want to point out something because now in my mind, I'm remembering something. I remember like back in the first season, I believe you played Jared in the playoffs in the very first season of APL.
yep, and this after I won the first round, Jared had a bye, and then we played in the conference championship. Yep.
Yeah, and I remember asking you about that, like how you felt about the game. I remember you told me that, like you said, in my mind, I've already lost, and like it's amazing to see where you've come from there, just confidently delivering a 5-0, which is pretty cool.
That's funny because I don't remember that conversation, but I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah. I believe it. Yeah, no, but I mean, have I though? Because remember, I kind of said that that's how I kind of feel coming into this week, but maybe I have to, psych myself up and remember that I can win. You can win any week in this league.
Okay,
So.
okay. Don't read too much into this, all right?
Yeah, yeah. You don't want me to read into it.
All right.
So should we look at the standings and kind of sum up what's happened in the regular season?
I mean, I feel like we're kind of doing that, but yeah, I mean, really in the Galler conference after week 5, it was pretty much set. That the Toledo Team Rockets and the London Lanterns would both be in the playoffs. So, Gala Conference was pretty much set. Kanto Conference, Steven started to run away with the division, but again, it was very close until the end, and Richie until week 8, until after week 8, was still in it. So,
I think with Richie, I was kind of saying this off air, but I think, it felt like his top tier Mons, like his, Reuniclus and Clefable, they never did feel like that much. Even when he won, he was kind of leveraging those lower tier Mons and playing well with them. And then he changed up his roster, but the lower tier Mons became to get a little stale or predictable. And then I think that's where it really fell downhill. Because, I mean, remember, his first pick was Clefable, but he wasn't even using it, to that much of effect in the first 3 weeks. So I think it was just kind of, it's almost like if he lost a little earlier, maybe he would have, switched his team up and gone more of a direction. But maybe that 3-0, I think he hung on to his team for too long.
Yeah.
I think that's a good point. Yeah, I agree with that. I think especially this season, Clefable, especially in OU in general, Clefable, it's a high tier pick, but in general, really, it has a much more passive role this metagame. And so kind of it's there to support other high tier Pokemon.
Right.
So I think that was part of the issue.
Right, and it didn't seem like he really used the Wish Teleport. That's why Clefable is so popular. He didn't really use Wish Teleport.
Yeah, well, he didn't really have much to abuse it with, honestly. That's true. That's the thing. He had a lot of frail Pokemon or slow Pokemon that really, or basically, he didn't have enough heavy hitters to really benefit from.
Right.
Like Reuniclus has Recover, it doesn't need it. He didn't have any he didn't have a Conkeldurr or some other kind of really strong attacker.
Right.
I think Dion, he started off a little shaky. It felt like he was kind of making some misplays, but it seems like he ended up pretty
did not
good.
draft the greatest team, and then he made a lot of changes that helped him because he now has so much priority pressure that it's really just annoying to deal with. And he had such a ground weakness, and then before our match in week 2, he just dropped his entire team and picked up some ground immunities. So he did a good job of sort of retooling his team, but yeah, he was in a lot of really close matches. I mean, you can see his differential was only +6, and he did he had a 4-0 or 5-0 victory against me. So outside of that, he was +1. Whereas Sal, I think you pretty consistently just had a 2-0 victory and then a 1-0 loss or whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I guess that also, you were also in a lot of close matches, Sahil.
Yeah, we both were.
Yeah, you both were, yeah.
Including against each other, which I pulled out a 1-0, kind of on the roll of my Gardevoir. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an amazing battle.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah. I feel like, I don't know, who do you guys think had the best, just overall constructed team? Looking back at it.
That's tough, man. I think for what Matt's is, it's well constructed.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
I feel like
you
look at the first 3 on Matt's roster, and it felt like he just used those beautifully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Matt got use out of all of his Pokemon basically, and I think that's really telling.
Yeah.
You know, like Steven, I feel like your first 7 Pokemon, or really, your
Well, I've actually, I think I've managed to use all but Delibird to really good effect. But yeah, for the most part, the first 7 really do most of the damage.
Well, yeah. Well, what I mean is like those are just really great Pokemon that you have. Like they put on a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You know, Jolteon, I'm not the biggest fan. I'm interested in knowing like what your thoughts on Jolteon are. But you know, Surfetch, like it started to show up, like you started to bring it, and it really did a lot of work for you.
It really did. Yeah, like I think I used it versus Sawhill, and I got obviously it helped me deal with Flygon that game, but really the game afterwards against Dion is really where it shined.
Right.
And stuff like that where I was able to leverage those lower picks. But yeah, no, I think for a lot of us this season, I think it was saved for maybe you and who else. I think for the most part, you and maybe Richie, a lot of us tended to use like most of our top picks, and like we changed on maybe 1 or 2 Pokemon a week. This is a very, very kind of stagnant season, I think.
Yeah. Which
I think partly had to do with just the way the point system works and the number of Pokemon we have on our rosters. Yeah.
Right. I think I think 11 Pokemon is like a perfect amount of Pokemon. I know it doesn't really help with the rounds, but like having an odd number of rounds. But I think
now actually that might make sense if we're ordering the picks based on last season's success. Then it kind of makes sense to have an odd number of rounds. I just didn't think it made sense to randomly, you know.
Yeah. Well, actually, if it is based on last season, then you no longer necessarily even need to do it as snaked. That's something to think about. Because like, but
that's all.
But no, yeah, I like in the IBL, like I feel like I mean, Steven, you prepare with me, like you really do have to prepare for like most of their team. When like the way the point system worked out. So, I mean, the point system was sort of my fault. I think I didn't really think about it enough.
I mean, I think we've done that in previous seasons. It kind of felt like we had to prepare for most things. But yeah, this season,
I think like just adding like another tier 3 Pokemon to every team.
Yeah,
like that would have.
Yeah, I agree.
That would have just really added diversity. Go ahead, Steven.
I think so. I really would have enjoyed some more Freeman tier 3 because there was so much I wanted to use, but like, especially with our teams, you know, if you pick 2 tier 1s, then you're stuck with 1 tier 2, 1 tier 3, and then fill out the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so is Obstagoon a tier 3?
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And did a lot of work. So much of the good stuff at tier 3 I wanted to access, but I could because of Obstagoon. But not that I'm complaining because Obstagoon.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I actually think that the Gen 8 OU is terrible. It's probably the worst OU that we've had. But I have really enjoyed the Gen 8 draft scene quite a bit because like a lot of these Pokemon we just didn't see before. Like I don't think Obstagoon would even. I mean, Obstagoon's really good, but I don't even know if it would be necessarily a good tier 3 pick with the national decks. You know, because there's so much speed and there's so much power. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't know. I mean,
because it doesn't get like priority either. Yeah,
no, it doesn't.
I feel like
or even like Rabombi. Like Rabombi is so much better now than it was purely because of its speed. And you know, webs are also really good,
I definitely would not have drafted Haunter. Or I mean, maybe I would have, but actually no, I don't think I would have drafted Haunter. And I don't think it would have been able to do what it did in that week in like previous years.
Because like tier 5 was, you know, it was almost 75% middle evolutions, you know, or
right. Which is why it wasn't required to take a tier 5.
But we ended up having to.
We had to take like 4 tier 5. Yeah, as far as worst constructed teams go, I would have to say mine. I don't know, like it.
I think I would agree with that.
It just doesn't make sense. So
it seemed like you had a lot of ideas, but they were kind of conflicting, and you sort of wanted to take a different direction.
Right. Exactly.
Did you feel the Incineroar trade helped you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Salazzle didn't do much at all.
I needed like a bulkier attacker.
So that worked. I think that worked for both teams, really. I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
yes.
Neither team was.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
No, I think Sand. I like Sand a lot, but like a lot of weeks, I just felt like, wow, Mold Breaker by itself is just really good. So, yeah, and Gigalith kind of sucks in my opinion. So,
Oh.
yeah,
Was that a tier 2?
tier 3.
Okay. So you don't have a tier 2. Oh no,
No,
Rabambi's a tier 2.
Rabambi's. Oh no, Haxor's a tier 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it wasn't the greatest team, and I think honestly, the best performer that on my team was probably Rotom Fan. Like the weeks it came, it was so good for me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it tore through half my team.
Yeah, so that thing's I think it's probably one of, if not the best tier 5 Pokemons on a team.
Yeah, that's probably one of like the best low tier Pokemon
Like
that
bang
didn't
for your
work.
buck. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Sigilyph I thought was another Pokemon like that this
Yeah,
season.
man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, let's talk about some of those like those Pokemon, like those value picks, because I mean, you mentioned Rotofan, you just mentioned Sigilyph. Like Sigilyph is such a good Pokemon.
Yeah.
Especially
In
with
this metagame with its tiers, with a 97 speed tier is just a great,
Oh,
and with
yeah.
all its coverage.
right,
Yeah.
right, and the Magic Guard Life
What's his
Orb
base special attack?
103.
Yeah, that's good this gen. I mean, that speed and that special attack.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
with Magikarp Life Orbers, that's just such a such a blessed ability to have. That just makes you instantly so much better.
Yeah,
And it really pays off.
yeah, and we talked about Surfetched. I thought Surfetched was really good.
Yeah, I think that was tier 4 as well, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Beartick had
That
a
was a
sweep,
nice pick.
right?
Yeah, Beartick had a lot of kills. I think Avalugg probably ends up being.
It was really
So
good at
Beartick-
first. Yeah.
So Asterisk with Beartick, with support, right? It had Ninetales and Veil. to
That's
help it
true,
along.
that's true.
But, yeah,
Right.
But when it was used, I mean, like it was used very confidently. It very handily swept my team, so I won't knock it.
Asterisk because it hurt me.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I think Avalugg.
Haunter, man,
Yeah, Haunter.
Avalugg.
It only
Avalugg,
came
yes.
1 week, so
Yeah, that's the thing. Haunter only came 1 week, but you got 6 kills out of it.
yeah, it probably has the best kill to games played ratio. In the
Well, the ratio is 0, so. Oh no, it's what? It's 6. I can't do math.
wait, yeah, what are you talking about?
I was thinking kills to deaths,
Oh, okay.
or it's undefined.
Yeah.
6
Yes.
divided by 0 is undefined.
Yes,
yeah.
it's undefined. No, but I think Avalugg. Avalugg's probably the best. Like it was a consistent performer.
Well, is him on top 3 or 4?
Well, let's
I
take.
feel like him on top was pretty damn good for a couple weeks.
Yeah, Hitmontop was good. That's tier 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Glycopod, once you picked it up, it's been really good, and honestly, so has
Vanillux
Vanillux.
has been key in all 3 of my
yeah,
games.
Vanilla. I mean, dude, Veil is just really good.
Yeah.
And to be able to get that in your tier 4, that's pretty shrewd pickup. So,
Yep.
but yeah, we unfortunately don't have the kill leaders updated.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, do we know even who would win MVP? Like,
I don't.
so I mean, like, not based on kills. Like, who would you say the most valuable Pokemon was this season? Like, without doing any like complicated math, like, or like.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like
Cabalion, it only played like 7 games. I think. I feel like it didn't come some weeks.
yeah.
So
Steven, what do you
maybe
think?
Maybe Necrozma? Steven with us?
Steven's still with us. Oh, breaking news! The Toledo Team Rockets drop Toxtricity and pick up Cloyster.
Wow.
Wow.
Cloyster is a scary mon.
Yeah,
That's a lot of water and ice.
interesting to me considering Milotic is there, but I get it because of
He's got 3 ice types now.
Yeah, he's got 3 ice types.
We're having some technical difficulties.
I don't know
with
where
Steven
Steven
right now.
I don't know where Steven went.
Does he
But-
still in here?
Yeah, I'm sure he just got muted. Oh, had an internet blip. He'll be back on. Okay, so I don't know how many kills it ended up having, but I feel like Darmanitan just every week put pressure
Yeah.
on the opponent.
I think it had a couple blips, but in like the mid-season area. But yeah, no, it was very good.
I think that's a contender for MVP for sure.
It had 10 kills, which I think will end up being probably like top 5.
Yeah, probably. I think Zero Aura is another shout. Zero Aura was
Zero Aura's not bad.
Zero Aura was very, very good. But yeah, that's the thing. Like,
Are we talking MVP?
yeah, who we think like the MVP?
Who would you like if you just had to without like adding up all the kills together and stuff like that? Who do you think the MVP would be?
Okay. That's really tough. Man, yeah, I think you're right. I think Zero Aura is a really good contender.
Yeah, I was saying even Darmanitan, like with the amount of pressure it put up this season, I felt like every week.
I feel like
I think in the second half of the season, Darmanitan started to shine more so than the first.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah, I mean, on your team, like I feel like Obstagoon.
I think the first half of the season, Obstagoon really was the pressure applier, but then Surfetch kind of took over that role.
Yeah, well, even Dragapult
later on
started to perform better. And
that's true. That's true.
That's the thing. Like Steven's 9-1, Matt's 7-3 with the game. Like he didn't really care about at the end, like at all, with the weirdest sets possible. But neither of you guys had like an MVP type Pokemon that carried you to those records. So it's hard to say, like, you would think it'd be Necrozma, but, I mean, after the first few weeks, Necrozma wasn't, the main...
It wasn't like it was bad. It was just not have to sweep because he had swept with Beartic and Cobalion, etc.
And freaking Kramer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I expected Necrozma to be his number one, it's his focus, but it really wasn't this kind of new stuff like Cobalion and Cobalion.
Yes.
And at the same time, I feel like you have to give the MVP to a Pokemon that like was on a worthwhile team. So Zero Aura seems like a good pick.
Yeah, I think Zero Aura. Yeah, I think Zero Aura.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back with the media ballots and see where we land with the MVP. But Steven, we were reacting to it. We didn't really react to it, but we broke the news that the Toledo Team Rockets are dropping Toxtricity for Cloyster. I mean, what do you think about that? Do we lose Steven?
I think we should stop mentioning Cloyster.
I think we might have lost Steven again.
Because every time...
well, we'll work to get him back online.
Should we maybe call on Facebook or something instead?
I think it's more to do with his internet. But, okay. Now that I'm thinking about it, Cloyster, I think, is a look to the finals, potentially. Because Cloyster is pretty damn good against Steven.
It's not bad at all.
Pretty damn good.
Cloyster behind Veil is something.
That's scary.
Something.
That's super scary. I don't think it does that much against Richie. Or, I mean, not Richie. Against Dion. I mean, Zero Aura counters it. Milotic counters it. Lucario kind of counters it.
Hitmontop kind of.
Yeah. Drape, I mean... yeah, Hitmontop 100% covers it. Counters it. Even Piloswine counters it. So, I mean, I don't know if a +2 Rock Blast takes it out. But...
I agree with you. It does seem like it's definitely better against Steven's team. What about my team, though? Because I could also be a future opponent for Matt.
Well, I mean, even against you, it's not bad. I mean, the Ice Shard against Flygon, you go to +2, you outspeed Darmanitan and Rock Blast it or Liquidation it or whatever. +2 Cloyster does kill like Ferrothorn at like 70% or 80% with the Icicle Spear. Depending on the Mew set, it can kill. So, it's...
So do you think that he... Do you think he would ever bring both Cloyster and Beartic?
No.
Okay.
Maybe, though. I don't know.
Probably not.
I mean, it seems like Cloyster's just a better version of Beartic.
Sort of, yeah.
I mean,
my internet split in half.
It's all good, Steven, but we've tried to break this news twice with you here. But the Toledo Team Rockets have dropped Toxtricity and picked up Cloyster, and what we were saying is it seems like that's more Matt turning an eye to the final, potentially, because it's much better against you and or Sahil than it is against Dion. And I actually think Toxtricity is kind of decent against... Well, maybe it's not good against Dion, now that I'm looking at it. But, yeah, what do you think?
No, yeah, I literally, as I was trying to reconnect, I was thinking the same thing about what it could do to my team or Sahil's team. And I don't know. I mean, to me, I feel a little bit better to some degree for him not having Toxtricity. He loses only electric type on the team, which I think is okay.
Yeah,
I mean, Cloyster's a threat. Ice Shard, obviously. Water type stab obviously always does well, but I definitely agree. This is the finals my pick.
Up, y'all?
And just given what he's brought versus Dion before,
Oh,
I don't
and we
think,
actually have the coach of the Toledo Team Rockets to maybe give us a bit of an insight onto his most recent transaction. We were just talking about it. So
what a
why?
unique opportunity.
Yeah, why the move? We were speculating that this was maybe, a move that was for the finals more so than the first round. But we'll let you speak on that.
I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily more for the finals in the first round. I think that it may make a bigger impact in the finals, but I think also that I don't know. I've really struggled to kind of use toxicity to its full effect, pretty much throughout the entire season. It picked up like a kill, like against Dion, but Dion also has like between Zera Aura being immune to its electric type attacks and the side like shift gear and having Claydol, like he's got enough to kind of not be super threatened by it. Like I think at best, I basically traded 1-for-1 with it. Isn't great. So I've Cloister was one of the ones that I was thinking about picking up during the move that I picked up Kofagrigus. So I was like, well, it kind of fits my MO as far as playstyle wise, and it's super threatening, so might as well pick it up.
Yeah, well, and that thing behind a veil is very scary.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you love setup sweepers, and Cloister is like one of the scariest.
It is the setup sweeper. Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm interested to see what Cloister does if it comes this week, or if Matt makes it to the finals. It should be interesting to see. What were we talking about prior? MVPs.
Yeah, MVPs.
Yeah.
Should we ask the
Matt, what do you
question,
think? Yeah, like without looking at the stats or whatever, what would you think the MVP would be? We were saying maybe Zera Aura. I think that's the sort of the consensus we came to.
I'd say that's reasonable. I think it was like I want to say like the first like 2 weeks or so, Dion struggled to kind of like he wasn't pulling it out till later, and he wasn't really using it to its full effect. But it definitely came on strong as the season went on.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't like any discredit to you or Steven's Pokemon, who are the best like teams this season, but you guys just kind of distributed your kills among a wide variety of Pokemon. Like Cobalion had some games where it didn't come. Like I don't think you probably brought it to like 7 or 8 games maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah, and it put it like some weeks it was absolutely incredible, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, obviously, like Necrozma continued to be a threat, but it definitely like was able to like I wasn't quite as focused on having to sweep with that, just partly because of like the way it picked up, built my team to be this like super offensive behemoth. So like it kind of let the kills get a little bit more spread around.
Right. Well, and that's kind of how it was across the board. Like especially between you and Steven, like it was a lot of kills spread around. Steven, do we have you or do we lose you again?
Oh, I'm here.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Yeah. So, is there anything else to talk about as the season as a whole that you wanted to talk about, Sahil, before we talk about the upcoming playoff matchups?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like we've kind of gone through most of the. I mean, I guess we never. I mean, now that we have Matt, we never really talked a lot about Matt's whole season.
I guess that's true.
I mean, it was a lot of domination for most of it.
Yeah. I think 7-3 doesn't really do him justice.
The differential more so does the justice.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, It was really like 7-2, and then the last week. But yeah, Matt, you came into the season. Matt was in the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah, he made the.
Yeah, you made the final. Yeah, you made the final.
The finals.
Yeah, so you came into the season with a vengeance, looking for vengeance, looking to come back and get that one extra victory. How do you feel so far after the regular season, making it this far?
I mean, this season's been just a lot of fun. I think, obviously, like I've done pretty well for myself, but I think I don't know. It was just an enjoyable. I think my style's been different this season than it has been in previous. I mean, going back to some of the uncompleted seasons, where I still kind of figuring things out and everything. And
Right.
I don't know. I kind of did like how I like as we do more seasons, like how I'm gonna like my kind of style, my definitive style.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was a good season. I think our a surprising, at least a little bit of interest towards even at the kind of the almost not quite the end, just because Dion didn't clinch a playoff spot until late, just because he struggled, I think, a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Was expected early on in the season. And then the last game between he and I last week was just like all kinds of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
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 When I played.
Well, no, it's true though. Your team this year did really scream like Matt. I don't really know what it is, but it really does. I mean, you have the Necrozma, you have all the setup sweepers, and then you also have the Veil. It just, yeah. It's a really very well constructed team. We all, I think, agreed earlier that you probably had the best team in terms of team construction. So, yeah.
I'd like to go back now and kind of go back to our predictions of who we thought was going to be in the playoffs from our initial draft analysis, and see what that lines up with.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
I feel like it was a lot of Matt and Dion on our side.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it,
Back on.
And then on your side, I don't know. I think it probably varied between. I don't know.
I still think Jared had the second best drafted team in our conference. I mean, I ended up with a better record, but
well, I mean, you dropped half your Pokemon.
No, that's true. But I still think even now, looking at the rosters, I think Jared did have a really strong team.
He has a very
He did,
threatening
he did.
team. Yeah. Sad we didn't see Sun more, but yeah. His top 6 Pokemon were pretty damn good. Yeah, but it was a good season. Congratulations.
Every battle was done on time.
Yeah, every battle was done on
something to
time.
celebrate.
It was.
something out of quarantine, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, that's kind of how the idea kind of started, right, for the season. Someone, I think it was Matt, who if there's any time to do it, it's now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually,
Very true.
I mean, I think the last, if I do make the finals, then we play if we do the All-Star game the week before, or if we do it the same week, but I'll finish up right before I'm supposed to go back to the hospital. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If we just do the next 2 weeks, then it'll be 2 days before the DLC drops. Will be the end of the season. So, yeah, Pokemon OU Gen 8 OU will look completely different in 2 weeks' time after the IPL season
That is crazy
is
to think
over.
about. So
yeah.
should we? Yeah, maybe we can get into the conference championships
Let's
now.
start with the conference championships. All right, so let's start off with the Kanto Conference Championship. The 9-1 Bayern Munchlax are taking on the 6-4 Milwaukee Mewers, and we have both of you here. What's the mindset going into this match? Let's start with Sahil.
I kind of have a question for Steven before we kind of get into everything.
Yes.
Did
what sets will you be running?
Did you watch our Week 4 battle, or did you feel the rosters were too different, particularly on my side, that it wasn't necessary to watch?
Did I watch our Week 4 battle?
Like when you were doing your prep, did you take anything from that, or did you?
So I didn't watch it, but I mean I definitely
I did not
I
either.
definitely taken things from that. Yeah, I mean obviously things have changed since then, but I think also the way I was playing kind of took a turn midway through the season too, and so I think I've already learned a lot from that so far.
Right. And then, I mean, I did not, I thought, my strategy was completely different. Half my Pokemon I was bringing were different. So, but then I hope Week 8's not too indicative for my sake either, because that was,
I'll be honest, I was so much more confident Week 8, which is weird because you had a different team. To me, that was okay, this is something different to prepare for. This is something that I can, there's less pressure because now it's something new, which is it's weird to think about that way, but yeah. But anyway,
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Well,
like the first one was close.
I think the loss of Gardevoir was really good for Steven. And like that
Infiltrator,
was
man.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And just having that fairy type.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
It's hard not to think about Gardevoir as I'm team building this week, but it's we'll just have to make do with what we have.
Yeah, you have a lot of tools as it is. Definitely, this is definitely gonna be a tight game.
yeah, maybe Matt and I can talk about it a little bit more, so you guys don't have to talk about your sets and whatnot. But it should be a really interesting match. So as Sahil alluded to, week 8 was it a 5-0 victory?
6-0.
Or 6-0 victory for Steven. So that was the most recent battle with these rosters, barring Munchlax for Delibird.
Yes. But I played much better since then. But yeah, no, that's ugly.
Right. I mean, but I'm not saying like that. Looking at just the matchup, it can give us some sort of understanding of what the matchup is like. That being said, you did almost win in week 4.
Oh yeah, oh my god.
So like Sahil consistently actually battles against Steven pretty well. So I think it's definitely possible for Sahil to pull off the upset. But for me, I think Steven has... Not only is Steven probably the best battler in the league, he also, I think, just has a better matchup. Just looking at the teams. Like, I think Steven has the switch-ins for some of Sahil's mons, some of Sahil's biggest threats, and Sahil struggles with some of Steven's threats. I'm trying to be as vague as possible. I don't know.
I think that's a fair analysis.
No, I mean, I Steven has. I think Steven has a better matchup. I mean, I think Steven has a better. I think he drafted it better. He kind of constructed his team a little better. But even with all that, I think it's yes. I think he has a better matchup. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to be diplomatic and vague, but
Well, here's my one thing I always want to mention. I think I don't know. For me, it's in my head. I'm not sure what everyone thinks about, but like, to me, I kind of also look at it as a statistics game because, yes, I've won the first 2, but like that means there's been 2.
Wait, can you say that again? It just cut out on
Wait, it cut out. Okay, I think we lost Steven again. We'll work to get him back on the line. Looks like a really interesting thought was coming out, but we lost him. But Matt, what we'll throw it to you. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I mean, I definitely agree that it might be a bit of an uphill matchup for Sahil, even just looking at like roster builds. I think the big thing, like, obviously we saw week 9 when I played Sahil. Admittedly, like, I like did not even like it literally didn't even cross my mind that like anything on Sahil's team could be choice scarfed. Like it didn't like I built the team fairly quickly and I was like, I just have to outspeed whatever Darmanitan's base speed is. And then like he came scarfed and then it like destroyed me. Obviously like Scarf Darmanitan is like always like, I mean it just has like insane power, but
right.
Even has like a straight up like fire immunity.
Right.
Is kind of a key thing here. Like, everyone has a fire resist somewhere on their team, but even resists take pretty big chunks from like Flare Blitz on Scarf Darmanitan.
Right.
But just the fact that it's like, it has Rock Slide, but if he does run it choice just because he needs speed control, then that's an issue. But it's a tough game to play. Obviously, like anytime your choice, but
right.
But that's generally Darmanitan's most threatening stud, so it's not
right.
To,
well, and that's kind of my point. Like Steven has better switch-ins than for Sahil's biggest threats than probably any other team in the league, and I think that's sort of the issue. But Steven, you were saying something before.
Oh yeah, I'm back here. So I've switched to a more stable form of communication. As long as that sounds good.
Okay, yeah, it sounds good.
It sounds better, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, excellent. Yeah. Well, first I want to point out, so yeah, Darmanitan obviously is somebody switch-ins. But the thing is, you saw in my last game versus Sawhill, two of my supposed resists took 50% from Flare Blitz. So both Dragapult and Lantern. And Lantern was max HP, by the way, and still took half. So
Wow.
um,
No, I mean,
honestly, your best way of dealing with Darmanitan is trying to get it to kill itself with recoil.
Right.
Like, it's just ridiculous.
right, yeah. Super strong.
But no, yeah, what I was going to say was, at least to me, something I think about is just like, I think Sahel, you might have the advantage of statistics, just in the fact that we've played each other twice, we've seen each other's teams twice. Like, at some point, like, you know, the pendulum swings both ways, and so I think with that in mind, I don't know.
Something's gotta give!
I mean, really, to me, that's like, you know, we're gonna meet. If this is the third time we've met, I never like. Honestly, this is my least favorite game the entire season. Is this this one first playoff game, because it's someone you've played a bunch of times. Like, you've kind of showed how you play, showed your sets before, and so trying to make something new in that game, and then obviously there's a ton of writing on it. So I don't know. This is definitely going to be a pretty intense game.
I agree with that. Actually, the part like the semifinal game is so stressful. Like,
Yeah.
I like because it does feel like weird. Like you're trying to decide like how much how much you should adjust to their tendencies, how much you think they're going to adjust to your tendencies.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
You look at like what worked, and like even if it did work really well, whether you should bring it back or whether there's a way that they can counter that they might run this time. Which is why it is interesting that like Dion and I really only have like the one game, because the other game like was just kind of us like trying to make, you know, meme sets.
Right.
It still ended up being a good game, but like that's, and like none of the sets were like, you know, except for like Hyper Beam and stuff, like none of the sets were like horrendous. But like it definitely makes it interesting. Like it's a weird thing to play with. I agree with that, and it's definitely something that like I literally I was team like building my team before this just to decide like whether I was going to make this roster move or not. But it just like it's a weird feeling. I don't the semifinal game, like even last year I remember like it's a lot of pressure and it feels weird.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I remember like my semifinal game versus Richie last year was so incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that. The whole, you know, the statistics
It's a
thing.
good problem to have. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. Well,
No, I mean, I
yes.
totally agree with Matt's point that like it's really tricky trying to figure out like, you know, did that just work this one time? Do I bring it again? How much are they preparing for
Right.
that? Yeah, no, for sure.
Absolutely.
But I think at the same time, like in this situation, you know, Steven's the better roster, better matchup, better player. You should be confident. But yeah, Jared beat me 3 times. That you know, you referenced that the conference championship that Jared and I played in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jared beat me all 3 times. So if that's any indicator, it can happen.
Well, and I think, you know, really, you guys have only played once with this version of Saho's team.
It's true. It's true.
So, yeah. Now let's get into predictions for the Kanto Conference finals. I am going to take the Bayern Munchlax in a 3-0 victory.
I suppose that makes me next. I think it'll be. I don't know. I think it'll be close. I think Steven will have like a trademark, like, kind of balanced victory where he ends up winning. Like, it may seem like he might have some advantage, but he kind of ends up winning like 2-0.
Like it.
I
Okay, you guys don't have to make your predictions. We'll just skip that.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, so should be interesting. When is that taking place, by the way?
We're thinking Saturday right now. I don't think we have a specific time.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to get.
for 3.
Yeah, it'd be nice to
go
get
ahead.
it around that time so Dion can watch. I mean, but yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah. Okay.
Besides that, though, it's not a big deal. Yeah, anytime Saturday works for me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. All right, moving on to the Galar Conference Finals. Again, the 7-3 Toledo Team Rockets are taking on the 6-4 London Lanterns. So these teams split the season series, correct? Yes.
Yes, technically.
Yeah.
If we're
Yes.
for counting that
What do
last
you mean
game.
technically? I mean, it
Well,
still
yeah.
happened. But yes, they split the season series. I don't know. Dion's team is just so fucking annoying. I hate it. Like, I literally just can't stand even looking at it. But it's like, I have something for this Pokemon, and then he has the literal right switch in for it. So
I mean, he
He
doesn't.
always drafts a team like that.
He doesn't have something that like brings the team together, like screens or weather or anything like that.
no, but having like Milotic Zero Aura is just such a good combination. And
No,
then, like,
yeah,
you
it's
throw in
definitely-
like Claydol in there. But yeah, it should be. I mean, Matt, what are some of the things that you're like thinking about going into this matchup? Without obviously divulging too much information, but yeah, I mean, what do you think?
Also, just like if you want to answer this question quickly before that, how much have your guys' teams changed since that first matchup?
Since the first matchup, I think literally just changes I just made because I did the Appleton because D and I didn't play till week 7.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Like week 4 or something, like relatively
Okay.
early on.
So that first matchup was a good. I mean, yeah. Okay.
I mean, all I'll say is that obviously, like, just based because of my play style, like, I definitely think more about like how I match up versus like their defensive core, like opponents' defensive cores, more so than I think about it the other way around. Because like a lot of times if something like offensive comes in, then and it beats whatever's me, then I'll just try and get an attack off and go into the next thing.
Right.
So obviously like the whole like Milotic, a little bit like Hitmontop and then Claydol and some of the lower tier mons on his draft. So that's kind of the things that I always look at. So it's kind of like considering like, okay, how can I beat down these defensive threats enough that something can like just straight sweep. Do I? Some of the times that I've built teams, I've kind of stacked sweepers. So like I'll have 2 physical sweepers who are affected by the same thing, but one doesn't. The check is no longer a check. Sometimes I like balance it out. Like I'll have a really strong physical sweeper and a really strong special sweeper that kind of cover each other's weaknesses. So that's kind of the thought process that I have. Looking at Dien's team, and obviously just looking like. And this is kind of like a running thread, like the whole Zero Aura Milotic combo is obviously like, it's tough to deal with for the obvious, like, try to hit with electric attack, get Volt absorbed,
Right.
issue. So that's obviously like, something that has to be considered. And that's kind of a running, like, obviously because of how restricted we made the point values, like, Sahil obviously like changed his team completely, but as far as the other 3 people who made the playoffs, like they've all got like really strong and also like very well synergized in their 2 tier 1 picks or like their first 2 draft picks that they picked. Obviously like Zero or Milotic, Necrozma and Kabalion have obviously played off of each other very well this season.
Right.
And then the kind of like pivoting offensive defensive combination that is Dragapult and Corviknight. So that's kind of my thought process looking at the team. I just started team building like literally like right before I joined this call. I've just been like kind of poking around, seeing what different calcs do what. So we'll see how it plays out.
Man, this matchup is super exciting for me because I feel like both of you guys have a habit of having like 1 or 2 things that are just completely unexpected, and I think that's what it's sort of going to come down to in this match, like the stuff we don't know.
Stuff we don't know just by looking at this.
Right.
Yeah.
And Matt's talking about what he's talking about, but he has something up his sleeve behind all of that. So, yeah, I
But like Matt says, both these teams have cores that have been successful all season, and
Right.
I think, it would not surprise me if we see a Necrozma or a Kabalion sweep or something like that.
for sure, for sure.
I don't know if you guys watched this because during Dion and I, because I think whenever Dion and I played the actual like serious game, a lot of people I don't think like were there until like later towards the end of the game. But I actually did not fully EV my Necrozma that game, which was hilarious.
How much EVs were you missing?
Like I literally as you guys have probably seen, like Showdown now like has a thing where they will not let you put a team forward if it has 0 EVs. So what I had done is I was speed creeping and I speed crept the Necrozma for where I wanted it to be, and then I had no other EV investment.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Nothing in EV.
That's like the worst it can be given the current rule.
Yeah, and I was sitting there like I was running out of this cast. I was like, wow, why is this not doing like any damage at all? And then not damage. There's been EVs and on that game. And I was like, oh wait, it's probably because I didn't put any EVs in the actual like team, because I imported all the custom builds into the damage calculator. And I was like, it's awkward.
Well, definitely check this time. But no, honestly, like looking at it, I think Necrozma is a very solid. It's always a very solid Pokemon, but I don't know. I feel like it could do some work this week. So I'm excited to see that happen. Why don't we get into our predictions?
Wait, hold on.
Oh, okay. Well, all right.
I will say, now, I was thinking about
like an hour and 15 minutes, but go ahead.
Wow. We had to wrap up 5 weeks and preview the most important games thus far. So
Okay.
it makes sense for it to be a long one.
All right.
I think I was thinking about maybe the iconic rivalries or matchups in this league, and I think at least these last 2 seasons, this has to be I think one of the best ones. They played each other last year in that conference championship. It was such a good game, and I think all their games really came down to Matt Z celebrating with Victini or something crazy happening at the end and beating Dion. So I know Dion wants this one. I know both of them are really familiar with each other's playstyle at this point.
Yeah, no, that's very good insight. Yeah, both of these guys have been very close, and whoever makes it to the final, I think they're going to be really determined to beat Steven or Sahel.
Steven.
Okay, let's get into our predictions. Us three can give our predictions. So I think Dion's team to me, maybe it's just in my mind, but it seems super oppressive.
Probably because he just beat you twice.
Yeah, for my team really struggles against Dion's team. It struggles against every team, but even more so against Dion's team.
Except for Akash's.
Yeah, it's actually very
not
good.
struggling
It's
against
very good against Akash's. But I think that Matt's core handles Dion's threats pretty well, just across the board. Just sort of as a blanket statement. Matt's core, I think, is better. And I think, Zero Aura is obviously excellent, but I think Matt has 3 or 4, sometimes even 5 win cons. So I think, for me, I think Matt's going to run away with this one. I think it's going to be a 4-0 victory for Matt.
Yeah.
I know it's a hot take, but I just have a feeling. Matt has time to prepare.
When Matt was going through that reasoning, he's like, when I go through my process, since I play very aggressive, I don't switch much, I look at their defensive Pokemon, and just off a glance here, it looks like he can deal with Dion's defensive Pokemon. So I mean, so I feel like Dion will have to try to counter to some extent and just play super aggressive, and then I think Matt's team just hits, or at least one setup or behind screens just hits harder. So I think Matt's. Yeah, I agree. I think Matt's gonna win this one. I'm gonna go, but I think it's gonna be really close still. I'm gonna go 1-0, Matt.
Steven.
Yeah, I think I would say I'm more on the Sahil. I think ultimately I think Matt is going to win, just based on history, based on like how strong his team has been throughout the season. The biggest thing for me is I think Dion, of course, has seen his team twice. Obviously knows what's coming. He's a smart player, so I think he's going to play very well. I think he's going to make it a very, very close game. But I think Matt does come out 2-0 in my image. It's not I'm not confident 2-0. It'll be a very, very close game. But yeah, Matt 2-0.
Matt, are you more confident in going into this year's conference championship game or last year's conference championship game?
That's a tough one. I'd say, I don't know, probably last year's. Well, yeah, I'd say probably last year's. Partially, I was a little more like, I don't know, a little more gung ho last year. Like I just kind of like after things started to go well, I just kind of like ran with like just whatever I thought was, I didn't overthink things too much. So I just kind of like I was like, okay, let's just play this nice little freestyle, and as I was going.
Right. It was more like you said, like every week you were kind of just like focusing on your Necrozma set, knowing that you were going to sweep in Necrozma, knowing that was your game plan. Whereas this year, I guess you kind of have like a little more to think about. Maybe.
Yeah. They like spread out a little bit, and it's probably made me. It's probably made me better overall, but it definitely means that I have to like, think and analyze things a little bit more in depth now.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. I mean,
yeah. Well,
good luck to everyone.
It's been a great season. We will be back next week reviewing the conference championships.
The dust settles.
Yeah, and previewing the IPL Season 6, third ever finals. But yes, we are going to get out of here. Thank you guys.
And will we be doing live comms for both of those?
I could, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I can't live comm one of them, but...
Yeah, no, we'll live comm them.
Right.
Yes, but we are going to get out of here. Remember, like and subscribe.
Thanks for keeping up with the IPL content, guys.
Yeah.
We know it can get inconsistent, but...
All right.